Lenny Zakatek says he wants to play with Alan Parsons again. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. The main singer to the Alan Parsons Project was Alan's musical partner, Eric Woolfson. But second in line was Lenny Zakatek, who joined on their second album, I, Robot, in 1977. Here's the actual rundown. Woolfson sang 17 lead vocals, Zakatek 12, John Miles 9, and Chris Rainbow 8. Eric Woolfson died in 2009. He was only 64. It's not the Alan Parsons Project anymore. As far as I know, Eric Woolfson owns that name. It's called the Alan Parsons Live Project. And Lenny Zakatek says he'd love to rejoin.
I never criticized the Alan Parsons Project because it was a beautiful part of my life, and it was a part of my life I loved doing. But I love even more singing it live because that's what I'm good at, you know what I mean? And I'm going to Italy in Bergamo. I've got my own gig going on there, with a full orchestra with the Alan Parsons.
Alan Parsons actually produced Lenny Zakatek's self-titled album from 1979. It's an amazing project. I discovered it many years after it was released. I had no idea it was even released. It kind of fell through the cracks. In that era of music, we also had a band which was quasi-supergroup fan, a supergroup if you like the Alan Parsons Project, because many of their members formed a group called Keats. Do you remember that album? Lenny's solo album and the Keats debut album were all wrapped around each other, and they all kind of fell through the cracks. We asked them about that.
It sort of fell through the cracks because it was sort of set up as a package with a band called Keats, which had Davy Payton and the guys, Ian Benson in it. And I think Eric set it up as a 4-album deal. But as far as I know, the business end of things were a little hazy. But my reviews in America, Jerry Moss and Herb Albert signed it on A&M Records, and my reviews in the States were like, there was a song called Do It Right, and that song was going to really kick some ass in America, according to, the experts and the critics. And in England, I had Album of the Week on Radio 1, which is unknown, and I had Single of the Week on Radio 1, which is unknown, which means you go straight to A-list. But I had no records in the country because I got signed to A&M America, and just as I got signed, A&M UK took off with Police, Joan Armour Trading, Squeeze. Everything coming out of UK was flying. So I walked into the A&M office in Kings Road, London, and they were panicking because they didn't know who the hell I was. And I was Record of the Week. And I said, well, I'm the guy that's been playing on radio right here. And so they said, come back and meet the boss tomorrow sometime. And when I came back into reception the next day, all my posters and stuff were up in the, in the reception area welcoming me. So they didn't have a clue who the hell I was. And I think Eric Woolfson was preoccupied. Obviously, the Alan Parsons stuff was kicking. He was all over the world, and he didn't really want to. If I look back now, I don't think he wanted to manage it because he wasn't that sort of manager. He could set up a deal as he did with the projects with Arista, but he was, he set it up, and then there was nobody looking after me. So, but for me, I thought, hey, I'm doing well because I'm signed to A&M, and it'll kind of happen, through some kind of osmosis. But it just, nobody was looking after me, Mm-hmm. So now I'm looking after myself.
As mentioned in our previous videos with Lenny, and this is our last one in the series, Lenny Zakatek was a member of the funk R&B band Gonzales, and they had a heavy reputation. But Gonzales kind of laid the groundwork. You obviously you've done a lot of stuff before that, but I was reading up on it. I'm going, this is like a whole book in itself.
Gonzales should be. There's a band in the UK called Funk Brothers, which did all the Motown stuff, mm-hmm. and they were the equivalent in you because Careless Whispers, saxophone solo, George Michael, Steve Gregory from Gonzales, Slave to Love, Chris Mercer lives in America, played all the horns there. Honky Tonk Woman album, horn section, Gonzales, Boomtown Rats stuff with Bob Geldof, mm-hmm. a lot of Gonzales on there. Sade, guitarist, Gordon Hunt is the guitarist with Sade. Even now, he was MDing her at the time. Robert Hawaii, another guitarist in the band, was playing alongside George Michael as well. So we were, a lot of the young bands that were coming up, in fact, there were a lot of people sampling bits of Gonzalez, because we had Haven't Stopped Dancing Yet as the big hit, but the band really weren't into Haven't Stopped Dancing Yet as much as they were into their jazz funk, because we played Ronnie Scott's. We had a residency, which is the big jazz club upstairs, 21, 22, having a residency at Ronnie Scott's. You don't need to get paid. You're just walking around having cappuccinos all day down in Soho, you know what I mean? We're at Ronnie Scott's, brother. And that's what we did. I mean, it was the love. That's why Alan's missing a trick with me. I mean, I love performing. I love singing.
Lenny Zakatek has just released a new album called Love Letters. It's all his favorite love songs. If you want to pick it up, I love his version of I Can't Make You Love Me, the Bonnie Raitt song. Like, I keep playing that song over and over. I love it so much. You can pick it up in the description of this video. You can actually buy it on Amazon, but there'll be links to his website so you can keep up to date with what he's up to. Thanks to everyone who bought Rock History Music t-shirts. We appreciate that. There'll be a link to that below too. And if you buy a t-shirt, send us a picture. We're going to have a whole rollout at the end of every video with folks around the world who are buying our merchandise, wearing our t-shirts. We'll put you on there. And thanks, by the way. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.